Welcome everyone to the Wheels Museum. We're very thrilled today to have one of America's builders of America, Tim Hurley. This very, very impressive man and very good friend of Wheels Museum was a truck driver of, you're looking at me like...
A truck driver of many things.
Many things, many enormous loads and many important things. And he's going to tell you about that today, what it takes to drive an enormous truck that might be loaded with 70 or 80,000 pounds of wood and other things on it.
Well, 80,000 is gross weight.
Gross, okay.
You might have 40,000 pounds of product.
But still, you were there driving it and building our country. And he is the head of the Antique Truck Club that meets at the Wheels Museum. So we're very, very happy to have him here to tell us about his life and the truck club and some of the things that he does for others. So thank you so much, Mr. Hurley, for coming to be with us today. And I'd like to know about some of your experiences driving.
You're welcome. I am the president of the New Mexico chapter of the American Truck Historical Society, which headquarters in Kansas City, Missouri. An association of people that like old trucks, and the mantra is we came for the trucks and we stayed for the people. The people collect and restore old trucks. Some are not restored, which we refer to as in their work clothes.
Oh, that's cute.
Very interesting to go to their annual convention meeting, which is located in different parts of the country, because these toys are kind of hard to move around back and forth to get to the shows. Current show for this year is going to be in York, Pennsylvania. Last year was Reno, Nevada. My experience on driving trucks started about 25 years ago. I hauled lumber from a finish mill delivered in Lake Tahoe area. Winter and summer, had to put on tire chains. Get up there, it was late, unload the truck by myself. I later drove household furniture goods, moving company. The slang in the industry is, I was a bed bugger. We hauled bed bugs. Did that from Washington State, Oregon, California, some Nevada. I later drove a dynamite truck 4.5 years. Mostly ran the truck that mixed fertilizer and diesel fuel, made a blasting agent, delivered in the hole, and we pushed the button, and I had the license for that too. Later I drove log trucks, pulling logs out of the mountains, down the little skinny roads and the steep hills. Some of the trucks had multiple transmissions. One truck had 52 forward gears, a 13 main box, and a 4-speed auxiliary. 4 times 13 is 52. I later got into driving. When I came to New Mexico, I drove groceries for Walmart, New Mexico, Southern Colorado, West Texas, etc. And some good stories about that. I was in Colorado going up this highway in the winter in a blizzard. I could see the road where the road was. I could not see the trees. I had no relationship of my speed, except I was ready to downshift and I couldn't find the gear, and I was trying to find a gear. And I'm looking, and there, all of a sudden in front of me I see these tire tracks. And pretty soon I saw tracks for the duals. I was rolling backwards.
Oh my God.
So I immediately stopped, got it in gear, went to go, it stalled. That means I had traction. So then I finished out. Another time I came down a hill and I had to slow down so I could downshift, and I hit the brakes hard, knock about 10 miles an hour out of it. Downshift. Another 4 or 5 miles got to delivery, Every time I hit the brake, I hear a massive air leak on the trailer. The brake chamber for one of the wheels broke loose from the axle. It was hanging by the hose and the clevis. And I took it off, bent the hose over, pinched it, so I didn't have the air leak. Tied it up so it wouldn't hang down, so somebody was point and say, "Oh my God, that looks interesting," and they turn on the red and blue lights of their car, which we call disco lights, and fixed it and finished out and came home.
Unbelievable. How many miles do you think you've driven?
Here in New Mexico, in a 10-year period, I did more than 1 million.
Where were you trained to do this? How did you know how to do this? I can't get in that truck and go do that. Did you give
I tell people I could back up a trailer when I was 5. I had a heavy-duty tricycle. My dad built me a little cart, and in about 5 minutes I figured out how to back that thing up.
Amazing. Where was this?
South Jersey, New Jersey.
In South Jersey. Wow.
My uncle had trucks, and I just watched what they did.
Amazing.
Another uncle worked my grandma's farm, watch him back things around, the equipment, the manure spreaders, whatever.
Wow.
And what I say, many people look and few people see. They look and look and look. Oh, that's a big truck. I look and look and look and say, yeah. And he's got a flat tire or he's got something loose.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are always, your mind is always looking, always inspecting.
If there's any ladies in our audience today, this is what I call a real man.
Well,
so impressive what
we
you've
have
done.
some ladies who are driving trucks.
Well, that's true too. Now, there's a good point. There's a good point. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
We can do it. That's right.
And
Very impressive.
The industry is like any other industry going. You got 95% good people and a few of the other kind. But if you have a problem, most of them are willing to help.
Yes. Yeah, I can see that. Get on the road and help each other and communicate with each other and
Yes.
save each other and build our country, and yeah, fantastic. It's so wonderful to have you here. Would you tell us a little bit about the truck club, please?
The New Mexico chapter of the American Truck Historical Society, we meet at the Wheels Museum every other month, except July, because the weather's too hot. People are doing vacation things. And we talk about the newest things coming out with trucks. We had a sales manager from one of the large dealers in town in Albuquerque. He talked about his new trucks and about the electric trucks and the electric school buses and his opinion of them. And I've seen trucks for this company, new ones being transported down the highway. You have one truck pulling 2 others that are up on the back.
Mm-hmm.
They normally pull 3. He was only pulling 2 because his 4th vehicle was a diesel-powered generator to charge the electric truck so they could get to destination.
No. What does a truck like that weigh?
It's variable, depends what you have in it.
Sure.
The truck I drove for the explosive company that mixed the fertilizer, etc., the truck itself weighed 29,000 pounds empty. It had a double frame. It had heavy-duty suspension. It had the big, wide, super single tires on the front. And then I could put a trailer on the back. But I had to go down the road legal, max 80,000 pounds.
I see.
When I got to destination, another truck would be with me. He would top me off with fertilizer. And then I weigh into the customer's scale. And I've been 90,000 gross, off-road. Go deliver in the hole. Prep it for the shot. Push the button. Come out and weigh the truck again. The difference is what we invoiced on.
Sure.
You have to have your wits about you. If something breaks, you can't call up and say, hey, come fix it.
Right. Are you allowed to go the same speed as a car?
It depends. California has cars running 65, 70 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Big trucks and cars pulling trailer are 55.
I see.
Now you have a speed difference.
I love it when your truck club comes. There's so many interesting people who come to the club, and one of the last meetings you had a slideshow from a convention you had gone to, I believe, of many, many fascinating trucks, and
Yes.
it's amazing. What do you think of the new trucks coming out? What's your opinion of electric and all that?
The new trucks, I have driven the new ones. They have the automated transmissions.
Yes.
They shift when you don't want them to shift.
Uh-oh, oh boy.
They don't, want to drive it for you. I like to drive the truck.
I
The
understand.
terminology now for these new people coming out is they are a steering wheel holder and a seat warmer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know all the little innuendos
Yeah.
of driving truck. One thing we do not have on trucks as much anymore is the simple CB radio.
I wondered about that. How do you communicate with each other?
You don't have to. But the problem is, if there's a situation, the guys on the CB would say, hey, there's a wreck up the road, there's ice, there's something,
Sure.
there's fog,
Sure.
warns the other people. Otherwise, they get surprised.
Of course.
And when there's a problem, they'll yell on the truck, brake check ahead, which means traffic is stopped. You're gonna be, don't get surprised, start slowing down now. They train these new drivers to pass the motor vehicle test. That's it. 4 or 5 years ago, there was a big wreck up in Denver. The guy comes down the mountain, load of lumber, gets out of control, has a big wreck at the bottom, kills about 4 or 5 people, bunch of fire. He was a flatlander from Houston, Texas. They never taught him about driving on mountains. Never taught him about runaway brake ramps. And never talked about slowing down.
Terrible. If a young man or a woman were to start doing the kind of work that you did now, how many hours a week does that person work theoretically, and what would be the wages for something like that?
According to DOT, you can work up to 70 hours a week
Ooh,
with a 14-hour window on a daily basis, of which you can only drive 11 hours within that window. Then you need a 10-hour break, and once you reach the 70 hours, you need a 34-hour break, day and a half. Training, there's an outfit here in town that runs you through a school. Then they put you with a mentor, a trainer for a couple months as required. So you can learn all the little innuendos, what to do, how to adjust your brakes, how to fix things, how to get by. Because a lot of this stuff is not wrote in a book.
sure, experience,
You gotta look at it.
sure.
Most companies don't like a driver to touch a wrench on a thing because they don't know how to wrench. If you don't know what you're gonna do, you're gonna mess it up.
Sure. It's such an honor to have you here. I've known you for a long time, but we never had sat down with such a serious conversation as this one. And I know that not only have you done all this work and you run the truck club, I know you're very philanthropic. You help many people in the community, and I know you're just a fabulous person. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you very much.
I surely appreciate everything you do. I'm really grateful to you and having the club here. Do you want to tell us anything else about a story or anything else about the club or anything you have in mind to inspire others to do the kind of work that you've done, or to understand when they see a truck on the road, the magnificent job that that person is doing to help our country as well?
Every time I get out of the truck, I look at it, I check. One time in California, I stopped at the rest area, got out, looked at my truck, and here's a pool of fluid underneath the transmission. I got under there and checked it, and the bolts on the power takeoff unit were loose, and it leaked the fluid out of the transmission, manual transmission. I tightened up the bolts, About 5 miles into the next town, drove into the town, pulled into a farm equipment dealer who said, "We don't work on trucks." And I said, "Partner, I got hazardous materials on here of an explosive type nature. I need fluid in my truck." They did the job.
Good. Good. Now, if I were to, I don't think I'm gonna do it today, but if I were to say I want to buy a truck and I want to go into business like you were in, what would it cost to buy a truck like this now, like we're discussing?
It's all over the gamut.
Okay, give me a gamut.
You're gonna start at about 150,000.
Okay.
That's just for the tractor. What kind of accessories do you want on it? Do you want a big sleeper? In that sleeper, do you want a microwave? Do you want a refrigerator?
Really?
Do you want to set up for your, now they're set up with 110 inverters so you can plug in your TV. The more stuff you put on, the heavier it is, which means you don't haul as much load.
Right.
If I were to buy a truck, I would go to the big trucking companies and look what they had. They're the ones that put into the time and the research for efficiency, reliability, fuel mileage, which are things I would be looking for.
Right.
And I would duplicate what they specified. Some manufacturers specify, oh, these are trucks for owner-operators, which have all the bells and whistles and the chrome and everything else. Fuel is still $4 plus or minus a gallon. The speed limit is still whatever posted. And the freight rates are the same, but you got bigger payments.
Yeah.
But you're proud, man, I'm driving this large car.
Now, how many gallons, when you talk about fuel, how many gallons can a truck like this hold? And how many gallons do you get, how many miles do you get to the gallon, more or less?
I drove one truck, had one tank, 75 gallons, I think. I had a plan where I got my fuel, because I couldn't make it to my destination.
Sure.
From halfway up California down to San Diego. Then you got a plan to have fuel to get through the city, because you can't pull into the corner gas station.
Exactly.
Some trucks have 3 or 4 tanks of 100 gallons apiece. Depends what you haul, where you are, how far you want to go, how heavy a load you want to pull, because the more weight of fuel, the less weight of legal payload. Now you got to worry about all these tanks down the side of the truck, hanging about 12, 14 inches off the road. You hit something and bust a hole in the tank, you got a mess.
Sure.
And it's expensive in many ways. So it's management. In my opinion, I was not a truck driver. I was a manager.
Right. A business manager, that's right, I understand you, yeah.
Now you talk about mileage. Some of the trucks get 5, depends what kind of engine, depends how you drive it. I had a driver manager call me and says, at the desk, and said, "I want to talk to you about fuel mileage." And she pulled up on the computer and she looked at it and says, 8.2, that's what I was getting. That's with the manual transmission. With the automated, that's their goal, is to get 8.2.
Why was she upset?
She was surprised.
Surprised.
Because the other guys were getting down in the 6s.
I see.
But I drive as it's energy management. When you're coming up to an intersection and you see what the light is doing, or you're so far away you can't see the light, but you can see what the traffic is doing, and you slow down, that means you're coasting that last half mile without burning fuel.
Yeah.
Other people have their foot in it to the last minute, then they stand on the brakes. Now you're burning fuel, you're burning brake pads, you're wear and tear on tires. And if you're lucky, the light turns green and you still rolling, you save about 3 gears and you save the energy to stop the truck and start the truck again.
This is so important, so fast, and I love it. I feel like I'm on a road trip with you right now. Do you do any teaching? you know so much and you contribute so much.
I was a mentor for a while,
Yeah,
but again, these kids, they drive it like their sports car.
yeah,
They want to go around the corner fast. They want to come up to the traffic and do the quick stop.
yeah.
Or they don't allow enough room for the turn. Or they can't back up. I had one student back up, and you have the trailer lined up at the door. He had the trailer lined up at the door, but it was lined up with the next door. It was offset by half the width of the truck.
Oh, God.
Didn't it, I mean, it just,
Yeah, they just don't have your experience and your
well, they
understanding.
knew they had to back up to the door, but they didn't know why.
Takes a long time to get so smart, I guess.
Well,
And experience.
it's observation.
That's right, and caring, yeah. Has technology, how has technology changed the Department of Transportation laws? Has it,
Well, the technology hasn't, but it's the guys that made the rules for the hours of service. It used to be I could work a 16-hour day with an 8-hour break, then go back for 16. But I could only drive 10 hours within that 16. That gave me time for loading, unloading, working on the truck, getting fuel, whatever. If I stopped for 2 hours or more, whether it's lunch, whether it's a nap, or you take a nap to avoid rush hour traffic in the big cities, when you stopped, your clock stopped.
yeah,
So if you worked 8 hours and you took a 3-hour break, when you started again, your clock picked up at 8. Now you have the 14-hour clock, and it is gospel. You don't go anything past 14. A couple years ago, they had a problem out on I-40 east of Albuquerque. The trucks were stopped for 4 or 5 hours, whether for wreck or snow or both. The next day, the news says, oh, all these trucks, they're broke down, they're sitting on the side of the road. No, they have computerized logbooks. When you drive out of service, it flashes red lights, it reports back to the head office, and you got problems. And so they're sitting out there in the cold with no facilities, no restaurants, waiting for the 10-hour to pass by to where they can legally move again.
See, we don't know those things, that's so fascinating.
And there's no exception. They're starting to come back with the 2-hour break because they realized what was going on.
Amazing. I'm curious, if a young person wants to start this business, how young can the person be? When is a person allowed to drive one of these amazing vehicles?
You can be 21 and drive across the state line.
Okay,
I think you can drive in-state at 18.
really? It's kind of scary to me on the road.
It depends where the kid learned to drive.
Yeah,
Some people learn to drive on a video machine, bip, 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 and
Oh,
they get in their
gosh.
car and they go bip, 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 and you wonder why.
Oh,
And you look out on the street and you see which ones have experience because they got the crinkle fenders.
yeah, that's right.
Whereas
right.
you get the kid that grew up on the farm, God, he was driving a tractor when he was 10.
Exactly.
He was doing all this
Understand you.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, someday I'd like you to take me on a road trip. I'll ask my husband, but I think it'd be wonderful. I think it'd be wonderful to see life from that perspective.
It would be fun, except that I let my CDL go. And that,
Okay, I guess we won't be doing it. Well, in our imagination, I'm fascinated some kind of a truck like that on the road, and I'm so grateful to you for being here and for doing this presentation and for your life's work. Wonderful.
it's fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hurley, it's been fabulous having you here today. And I'm hoping that we can bring more members to the truck club. It's been very successful. I'd like to have more people coming to Wheels Museum. And I'm wondering if you'd like to tell the audience how they can contact you and how they can come to the truck club meetings here.
My phone number, area code 803-5449.
Good.
Email HurleyTim39. That's HurleyTim 39 @gmail.com.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll hope to have more people come. And you come on Saturdays every other month to Wheels.
Correct.
Okay. And with slideshows and wonderful presentations. They always bring donuts and food. And they always, I think, have a lot of fun.
Donuts.
Yeah.
They're called fat pills.
Oh, that's right,
Pills that
fat
make you
pills,
fat.
fat pills. You always ask me, do you want a fat pill? Exactly. So they always have, you can see, they always have a good time and talk about important things and fun things and get together, and it's a wonderful, wonderful club that meets here. So come and join, and you can see him in real life. Very handsome, notice that?
And I'm single too.
And single. And single, there you go. Now, last week we had a presentation by a man, and he was single. So, you see, Wheels Museum is not only about transportation. It's about people and being together and loving each other and having family together and being a community. So please come and be with us. So again, thanks a million.
Remember what I said in the beginning. We came for the trucks, we stayed for the people.
That's exactly right. That's our world, and that's how it should be. So
Yes,
we love you and we thank you so much.
you're welcome.